Hit it, Phil.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Can it be the breeze that fills the trees with rare and magic perfume? Oh, no, it isn't the breeze. It's Jackson time. La-da-da-da.
Stay tuned.
Right after this episode.
For our discussion.
From Television City in Hollywood, the Jack Benny Program with his special guests George Burns and Spike Jones, presented by Lucky Strike. Ladies and gentlemen, last Tuesday night, Jack Benny gave a violin concert at Carnegie Hall in New York City. Now, this was such an unusual event in the life of our little star that I want to take you back to last Tuesday for a look in on Jack's dressing room just a few hours before the concert.
What was that, sir? Yes, Mr. Benny rehearsed his concert this morning. Now, for his big number, he's going to play Mendelssohn's Concerto in E minor. Oh, he plays that very well. Even Mendelssohn complimented him on that one. No, not this morning. That was years ago. Now, if there's any other questions you'd like to ask...
Rochester!
Excuse me.
Rochester, have we got any more Band-Aids?
Just a moment, please.
I cut myself again. I'm so nervous. Who are you talking to?
Oh, that was Mr. Harrison.
Oh, Mr. Harrison. Oh, yes, he's the music critic on the Herald Tribune. I knew he'd call.
I called him.
Well, Rochester, I mean, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. After all, I'm supposed to be a big star. I mean, it would be a whole lot nicer if you waited for the press to call me.
Well, we're still waiting for him to call about your first show.
So what? That was only 2 weeks ago.
I mean, radio.
Oh, stop.
Well, I guess that just about covers everything, Mr. Harrison. Tonight, Mr. Benny does his concert. Now, when you talk about it later, and you will, please be kind. I brushed off your tails. I got them hanging right here on the hanger here.
I don't know how I can give a concert with all these Band-Aids on. I wonder if my cut stopped bleeding. They never even started.
Oh, say, boss.
What?
I forgot this telegram came for you.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Rochester. Gosh, I'm nervous today. Oh, it's from George Burns. Believe me, George always remembers. He's always interested in everything I do. Says, Dear Jack, just thought you'd like to know that Gracie and I have a very funny show tomorrow night. Don't miss it. Well, I guess he knew I was nervous and wanted to get my mind off the concert.
Say, boss.
Yeah?
Are we flying home tonight or in the morning?
No, I'm going to stay in New York for a while, Rochester, because I want to see a lot of shows. They got so many big hits here. I saw the Edward G. Robinson show, My Fair Lady, and I saw Mr. Wonderful. Oh, by the way, last night I saw a great baseball show called Damn Yankees.
Oh, how was that one, boy?
Oh, it was wonderful. Really wonderful. The only thing is, you see, when I pay $6.60 a seat, I like to analyze the plot. You know, I claim that a devil just cannot appear from nowhere and make an old man the greatest baseball player in the world. It's unbelievable, you know.
Would you give me that story again? That is kind of hard to believe.
Well, this devil...
No. I mean the part about where you said you paid $6.60 for the ticket.
Look, if you're trying to get my mind off the concert, you can stop. I'm not nervous anymore. Or maybe I am, I don't know. Come in.
Mr. Benny, there's a Mr. Martindale here to see you.
Mr. Martindale? Well, send him in.
Yes.
Hi, Jack.
Hey, Spike! Spike Jones! Oh, for heaven's sake. Sit down.
Oh, thank you.
Sit down,
Thank you.
Spike.
This is
Boy,
nice
am I glad to see you. I've been nervous anyway. Just have somebody come in and talk to me. It's just wonderful.
Thank you, Jack.
I mean, what's this Martindale business?
Well, in order to get into Carnegie Hall, I had to use a different name.
Oh.
What name did you use?
I used my own name. What'd you think?
I was only kidding, Jack. Really, I just came back to make sure you were here. You know, I looked at that marquee out in front of Carnegie Hall. It said Jack Benny, violin soloist. I couldn't believe my eyes.
Well, it did surprise a lot of people.
The man who put up the sign fell off the ladder.
He did not. He jumped off, and you know it.
Ah, Carnegie Hall. I really envy you, Jack. You know, all my life I wanted to be a soloist in Carnegie Hall.
But Spike, I never thought that you were a serious musician.
Oh, yes, I studied for years. I play 13 instruments.
13 instruments.
Yeah, the 12-gauge shotgun and the comb.
A comb?
With or without tissue paper.
No.
Jack, I just came back to wish you all the luck in the world, and I gotta be running along, all right? Real good luck tonight.
Well, why don't you wait and stay for the concert?
Well, I'd love to, Jack, but the boys and I are on our way upstate to play some one-nighters. As a matter of fact, they're outside waiting for me in our bus.
Well, just this once, couldn't the bus go without you?
Impossible. I drive it. Bye, Jack.
Well,
Good luck.
thank you.
I know you're going to
Thank
be
you.
wonderful
Thank you
tonight.
very much.
Bye, Jack.
So long, Spike.
Martindale.
Oh, yes, Mark. Oh, gosh. Gee, it was nice of Spike to show up when I'm nervous and everything. Rochester, what time is it?
7:30.
I'll be doing that concert in about an hour. Gosh, I hope everything goes all right.
Oh, it will, boss, it will.
I don't know. There's a difficult cadenza in Mendelssohn's concerto. I mean, what if I don't get through it? I mean, what if I break a string in the middle of the number or something? What if my cuts start bleeding again?
Look, boss.
What?
Instead of getting yourself all worked up, why don't you lie down and relax for a little while?
Well, maybe you're right. Maybe I can. I'll try. Might help.
Now, if you happen to fall asleep, don't worry. I'll just wake you up in time.
Oh, how can I sleep when I'm so nervous and jittery and everything? I mean, I'm a bundle of energy.
Well, in that case, then I guess I let... This happens every time he misses his afternoon nap.
Yeah, I hope my concert goes all right. Hope I don't break a string on my bundle of energy. I hope when I get through, the critics say that I'm the greatest violinist in the world.
Mr. Benny? Herr Benny?
Huh? Who are you?
I'm Mendelssohn.
Mendelssohn? That's impossible. What are you doing here?
I came to congratulate you on your appearance in Carnegie Hall. And I must tell you that nobody through all the years has played my concerto so beautiful as you do.
Oh, well, thank you. See, my friends say that my fingering is similar.
Mr. Benny, what is this?
Oh, that's a package of Lucky Strike cigarettes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, my friends say that my fingering
What
is...
means that LSMFT?
LSMFT?
Yeah.
Oh, that means Lucky Strike means fine tobacco.
Oh.
Here, have one.
Thank you.
Wait a
Thank
minute,
you.
wait a minute, Mr. Mendelson. I'll light one for you. Just 1 second.
That's the wrong side.
I reversed it the other way.
Oh.
But you know, my friends say that my fingering...
It's wonderful.
That's what my friends say, you know.
Not your fingering, Mr. Benny, the cigarette. It's so round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the drawer.
Yes, they are.
It's hard to believe.
What? About the cigarette?
That you paid $6.60 for a ticket. Now, Mr. Benny, about your fingers.
Yes, well, they're toasted to play better. Let me show you what I mean. You know, Mr. Mendelson, you have such a tough passage. Let me show you. I want to show you my bow. What I do here with the bow. You see? Your passage, you see, it's so tough. Now, for instance, I hold it like this. You know, and then when I finger it, Mr. Mendelson, where are you?
Boss, here I am.
Huh?
You're supposed to be lying down taking a nap. Here you doing, walking all around the room.
I never left the couch.
Then how'd you get that cigarette?
Mendelson gave it to me.
Who?
Mendelson.
Look, come on, boss. Come on, you better lie down. You really need to relax. Come on, lie down now.
Gee, I don't know. Wish I'd never started this thing. Try to relax. Try to sleep. I'm the devil. The reason I came up here is to help tighten the string on this sagging bundle of energy. It might interest you to know that this is my first trip back to Earth. I don't live far from here, just 250 miles, straight down. I'll admit that it's very hot where I come from, although the air down there is nice and clear. I'm allowed to burn my incinerator 7 days a week. We love Jack's music down there. We love anything that will make people squirm. Yeah, well, I'm not here to make jokes, although it's time somebody did. Well, I got a job to do, so I better do it. Jack? Jay? Jackie boy, wake up. Wake up. Wait a minute. You look like the devil. You don't look so good yourself. Who does when they first wake up? Go away, will you? Because I've got to give a concert in just a few minutes. That's why I'm here. What? I'm going to make you the world's greatest concert artist. But I'm one of the greatest violinists. You know, if he keeps saying things like that, he's going to end up where I am. Now, look, devil. Hey, wait a minute. Why are you smoking a cigar on a cigarette program? I told you, I'm a devil. Now, look, devil. Just call me Dev. Now, look, Dev. I have to rest before I go on, so will you please get out of here? Say, you're cranky when you don't get your afternoon nap. Okay, sit down. You're not cooperating. I was sent up here to make a great musician out of you. Those are the chief's orders. The chief's orders? Yeah. Gee, somebody down there likes me. But why? Why would they pick a devil to come up here to make me such a great musician?
Would you throw that straight line at me again?
I said, why would they pick a devil to make me a great musician?
Because we walk in where angels fear to tread. Ladies and gentlemen, in spite of that last line, Gracie and I are still going to have a very funny show tomorrow night. Don't miss it.
Look, devil. Look at, why don't they... Hey, what's that?
That's a signal. They want you on stage. Come on, I'll help you with your coat.
Okay. I still can't understand it. I mean, there must be some angle to it.
Don't worry.
I mean, a devil doesn't do things like this for nothing.
Well, don't worry about us. Someday we're going to wind up with all of your money.
What do you mean you devils are going to wind up with my money?
We know that you're going to find some way to take it with you. And with that load, it would be impossible for you to go up.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
Well, come on, Jay, they're waiting for you on stage. Get started.
Oh.
And as we say where I come from,
Yeah.
go out there and give 'em earth. I better call the boss and find out how I did. Hello, boss. How did I do?
Oh, George, you did wonderfully. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, boss.
Ladies and gentlemen, it has been my privilege to introduce many great artists from all over the world. But tonight I want especially to thank the directors of Carnegie Hall for bestowing upon me the great honor of introducing our performer for tonight. The greatest violinist of all time, Mr. Jack Benny.
thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That we're not through, are we? Oh, well, I just want to tell you that this really didn't happen to me in Carnegie Hall. We had a very successful show, a very successful concert, and we got over $50,000. That's not including the pennies they threw on the stage. I do want to thank George Burns and Spike Jones for appearing on my show. Be sure and watch Ann Souther next week. I'll be back in 2 weeks from now. And by the way, as we're nearing November and election time, don't forget it is your duty as an American to vote. And one vote may decide the election, and it could be yours. So please vote. Thank you very much.
Well, hello again. This is Buck Benny speaking. I am joined by some wonderful folks today. Nice full house and a great episode to have a full house on. This insane episode we're going to cover today. But let me go around and say who we have here. We have Hope Sears back for the first time in quite a long time. So it's great to see you, Hope. It's wonderful. And what an episode for you to come back on, because I know you're a big George Burns fan, and to have a George Burns in this episode, playing the opposite of a character he does later in his life, which I really didn't think about until I saw this. So yeah, pretty amazing. And I'm sure we'll bring that up as we go. And we have John Henderson here. Hey, John.
Oh.
We have Kathy Fuller-Seeley, and we have Terry Phillips. Hey, Terry.
Hi.
Right. So let's get right into this one. The craziness of this episode. Oh, this is one where we'll present, because it's going to be so hard to not present spoilers. We're going to present the episode, and then there's us talking. So probably this little piece I'll throw on the front of the episode. So I just hope you're going to enjoy this episode. Watch it, and then keep listening, because we'll be back on and we'll talk all about the episode and all the crazy things that happen. So without further ado, here is your episode. All right, I hope you enjoyed that, and now we're back. This is us to talk about the episode. So let's go over to Hope Sears. What are some of the favorite things that came up in this episode that you'd love to chat about?
This may be one of my favorite episodes, to be honest, because as you have said, I'm a big George Burns fan. So I just loved this episode. I mean, you have Spike Jones as well. Like, it's just all of that is so great. But me and my little George Burns loving heart, I just loved that he was the devil. It was great because, I mean, a lot of people, when they that new George, when they talk about George, they say he had like a wicked sense of humor, a devilish sort of humor, and like that really shows that he has fun playing with this devil character. And I love when he says, "I'm the devil," with like the cigar versus the on a cigar. He has a cigar on a cigarette program. It was great. But it is very similar to I mean, he played God and Oh God, and then he played both God and the devil in
Oh God, You Devil.
God, You Devil, yeah. It was so great, and it was very kind of similar, I feel like, in some ways, because there's this Faustian type deal going on in both this TV episode and in the movie, which, I mean, they're different, because like Damn Yankees is different than Oh God, You Devil, but it's there's a similar kind of deal going on, which I kind of enjoyed. And
now, I've never seen Damn Yankees. Does it like he sells his soul to the devil to play baseball or something? Is that the premise of that movie? Okay.
Yeah. Basically, he wants the yeah. I was like, I haven't actually seen.
Spoilers on the movie. I'm sorry, John just spoiled it. So there you go.
I thought we were doing spoilers now. Yeah.
I haven't seen the movie, but I looked it up because I was like, this is obviously what they're parodying. Yeah, that I enjoyed that, but I also just enjoyed all of the little fanciful things they put in it, with all of the smoke and I'm going to call my boss. And I was like, who's the boss of the devil? And it's Gracie, of course. And I was like, of course, it has to be Gracie. And so it's just really good. I really enjoyed this episode, and I'm sure we're gonna talk about some of the other things like Mendelssohn. And one thing I really kind of noted was me and Zach have had discussions about how Jack isn't really great at the physical comedy, but I just really enjoyed him falling over slowly and being carried off. That just that was the funniest part in the program for me. I
Yeah.
laughed so hard. I was
Well, it was partially so funny just because, yeah, like you say, you're not used to Jack getting involved. And that whole piece was written so brilliantly and acted so brilliantly because there was so much physical stuff, but it wasn't Jack who just kept playing. And so it was just Jack playing, and then everybody else is doing it. And then they just work him in at the end to a little physical bit that he does, and he does a great job of it. And it's just beautiful as he's playing, as he's being taken. It's exactly what you would hope would happen, and it plays out so well. And to me, every beat in this episode works. There's nothing that you go, oh, they should have skipped that part. That was not up to par with the rest of it. And it builds throughout the episode too, with the end being this bombastic thing that you're just not used to seeing on the Jack Benny show. It takes it to heights that are more like a Jack Benny special might do something like this or whatever, but you don't expect it within an episode. And even Jack, I think, I'm sure they were saying, oh my gosh, how are we going to fit all this in and things. And so at the end, he's like, we're not out of time, right? Or something. And then he's able to finish off. But I think he was halfway expecting for them to just say, no, just sign off right now. But he got to say a few words, and that was good. But
and since he's not here, let me say, I think Zach is wrong. I think Jack does great physical comedy.
I think he does better than Zach gives him credit for.
I've seen
not
some,
the
some
best.
good stuff, and I've seen some bad stuff from Jack Benny when it comes to physical.
You know, that little twinkle toes move that he has from time to time.
Well, I think we all are in agreement that Jack's physical comedy is far superior to Zach's physical comedy. So, you know, this is the Zach bashing episode. Let's have that.
Not here to defend himself, so
no,
yes.
So, Kathy, what are your thoughts on this?
The thing that impressed me, I want to go back and watch it over and over again. This thing was done live.
Yeah.
And so everything that had to go right, and Jack had just spent the week preparing for that big Carnegie Hall concert, which was one of the events of his life. And to be able to pull off, okay, you'd have it done in half an hour, but everything had to be choreographed so right. But I guess nobody better for the chaos than Spike Jones and his band, who did that every night. So they were the masters of barely controlled chaos. But just as you say, everything from Mr. Kitzel having to be Mendelssohn to Jack trying to play to all this stuff. And I love the fact that they did wrap it into Damn Yankees. And I'm very amused that it's the one thing even our blessed Laura Leff here in her description of this episode doesn't get. That she has, gosh, she knows so many things, but the one tiny detail she missed is that then this whole show parodies and draws from Damn Yankees, because Jack says before he takes his nap that he'd seen that show on Broadway. And it's done so subtly and so well that Laura talked about the Faustian bargain, and I'm going, wait.
Yeah, well, gosh, I think for me, and I'm surprised to say this at this point, because this is the first time I saw this episode, like I say. I think it was the first time for all of us, really. It might be my favorite. I don't know about favorite. I shouldn't use the word favorite. I should use, it was the most impressive, maybe, live show using so many different people. I mean, certainly the train station live episode is insanely good with how well they use the stage and how well, but it's all his regulars. It's all, and it's something they've done a million times and everything. This is so new and so different, and it's not his. I mean, it's got some of his regulars in it, but it's also got he's working in Spike Jones, he's working in George Burns. I mean, there's so much he's working in it. It's just crazy.
And
But,
the things I want to watch over again to see, because Don Wilson does things with cigarettes and he throws them in the, into the instruments. And it's like, so some things go so quickly. And I want to listen again to how well Jack was playing his Mendelssohn concerto. Because in part, I heard some off notes, very sort of Jackish, because there's so many things going on.
Oh, yeah.
And I was supposed to be playing his best, but
oh yeah, agreed. John, what are your thoughts on this one?
I thought it was a lot of fun. I had seen it before. I was listening to an episode where Jack goes to Carnegie Hall, I think from 1943 on the radio. And so I was, searching about that, and this episode came up. But yeah, it is so much fun. Very well done and like put together, even in the writing. Like, sometimes when Jack will do fanciful episodes, there'll be some sort of like mechanism, like a dream or something like that. So I thought it was funny in this one that there's a sort of acknowledgement by his criticism of like Damn Yankees and Edward G. Robinson's play, whatever it was. He says, "Oh, that's so fantastic, that's so unbelievable," just to set up the fact that this episode is going to be a fantastic and unbelievable episode. I love George Burns. He plays that perfect character, and he's so relaxed, and his interplay with Jack Benny is great. And then you get into Spike Jones. I also like, him setting up the Spike Jones thing at the beginning by him saying like a fake name, because they wouldn't let Spike Jones, knowing his wild and craziness as a band leader, into Carnegie Hall. And then to see that at the end, and it's the devil who brings him, and to just throw in chaos. And it's so well done. I don't know how they did it, whether they just did a lot of rehearsals, him and his city slickers, or if that's the kind of thing that maybe they would do on stage or something like that, because it seemed really well rehearsed and it went off so perfectly. But the moment when it comes to production for a live show, the moment that I was most impressed by is when the devil changes the scene to the orchestra, and he goes like this, and there's an enormous puff of smoke, and the set just peels away, and you've got that other set. It was really timed beautifully and really impressive from a production standpoint.
Agreed. I noticed the same thing. That was great.
Especially considering it was live.
Totally.
Just was like, I had to think about that. I was like, I could tell that it was live because of the interactions with George Burns, but I was like, did that just really happen that fast? I couldn't believe it.
Well, and I've been
might be a good episode to show to somebody who's not familiar with Jack Benny, because it doesn't rely as much as some other episodes on knowing Jack Benny and the characters. So this might be a good introduction to that. I think if you do know Jack Benny and the characters, there's some things that you get more out of, like his violin playing and things like that. But yeah.
And the person I've been waiting
on the stage.
To hear from is Terry, because Terry does productions and things sometimes, and I'd love to hear what his thoughts are on this thing.
Well, first, I want to add to what John just said. One of the things that you would appreciate if you knew Jack Benny's character was the joke about the tickets. He paid $6.60.
Yeah, that's right.
Probably was the price of a Broadway ticket in 1955, 56. I first of all want to read a quote from the New York Times music critic, Harold C. Schoenberg, I think was his name, who after the Carnegie Hall performance, the actual one that Jack Benny had done the Tuesday before on October the 2nd, 1956, and he really did raise $50,000 to support Carnegie Hall, which was in financial trouble at that time. Wow. Schoenberg wrote, "Last night at Carnegie Hall, Jack Benny played Mendelssohn. Mendelssohn lost." I also loved all the Damn Yankees references, but in no small part because not only am I a fan of that of that musical and the movie that was made based on it. But I did a community theater production of Damn Yankees, and I played the George Burns role. I played Applegate, the devil. And it's a wonderful show. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. In the Broadway production, the first one, Ray Walston played the devil. You might know Ray Walston from My Favorite Martian, right?
Yep.
Gwen Verdon was Lola. Jean Stapleton, who played years later Archie Bunker's wife in All in the Family, she was a character on that show, as was James Comack. And they did such a tremendous job. Of course, it was a year after the show had opened on Broadway, so most of the audience was aware of it. If they hadn't seen it, they were familiar with the show. And I thought they did an amazing job of tying that together with this episode. I'm also a big fan of Spike Jones and the City Slickers. And one of my favorite songs that they did lots of parodies. And I think my favorite one from them was My Old Flame. And they brought in the great old radio actor, Paul Frees, to do an impression of Peter Lorre on that song. So if you haven't heard it, I recommend that particular song. It doesn't have anything to do with this Jack Benny episode, other than that it's Spike Jones.
And what's the song called again?
My Old Flame. My old flame. I can't even think of her name. The last thing I want to say, going back to the great production of this episode overall, is when it first came on, I thought it was filmed because it begins with Don Wilson speaking to camera, introducing the episode. And because of the lighting, it looked like it was filmed. And of course, there was no audience, obvious audience. So I was very surprised when they dissolved to Jack Benny, and well, first to Rochester and then to Jack Benny. And yeah, it was amazing how perfect the timing was, how intricately everything fit together, and how it ended perfectly well. I mean, it was just from moment one to the very last, it was 100% perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what struck me. Absolutely. Still, I want to go back and watch this again now, just to soak up how it's done and all the transitions and all the pieces. I mean, there's so many pieces to this. I cannot believe. I mean, yeah, the Mendelssohn bit with Artie Arbach. I love Artie Arbach, and to have him playing a different character, it was just fun. It was, oh my gosh, it was great. And there's just so much in this episode. The one, what I love right now is we're starting to do some of these intros where they are actually outros or whatever. So it's after the show, so I don't have to worry about spoiling it. I love the piece where the bass player has his bass like upside down, and then he's playing that way, and then the band leader comes in, switches the music to flips over the music, and then he flips over his bass to. Of course, that makes no sense whatsoever, but it's hilarious. It makes total sense somehow in their weird universe that they would be like, oh, well, of course you'd have to play it upside down if the music is upside down. So I love that. I love the firecracker bit. I mean, there's so many little bits. Oh, and the audience just loved why audiences always love this when somebody loses their pants. It's like, so he shoots his gun and the pants go flying off, and every time he shoots the gun, something else happens to that guy, and then he disappears. I mean, it was wonderful.
Well, and that's the great thing about this episode, because it's a live episode and there's so much energy. Some of these things, like if I was to watch the pants flying off, I would say, okay, fine. But because the audience is roaring, it just pulls you in.
Yes.
And it's so fun. I want to mention a couple of my favorite jokes, since we're saying our favorite jokes. I thought it was funny when Spike Jones, because he's known for these crazy sound effects and things like that, where he says, I play 13 instruments, the 12-gauge shotgun and the comb.
Yeah.
But I also liked the joke where Jack Benny's getting ready for at the beginning he's getting ready for his Carnegie Hall performance, and he gets a telegram from George Burns, and it's just, hey, I've got a great show coming up this week. So that was a fun twist.
Hey, John, did it sound like Spike Jones ad-libbed that line about the 3 episodes? Because it seems like it caught Jack off guard.
I don't know. I
He
can't
threw in
imagine.
the comb. I'm not sure.
Maybe some of the tags, like, with it or without tissue paper or something. I don't know. But
Oh yeah, maybe.
there's definitely a lot of, energy and rapport between them.
Yes.
There's also a classic Jack Benny moment where he stares at the camera in that way that he stares at the camera that is so great, and it's like it worked so well. It's classic. I love it. It's classic Jack Benny, to the point where I was checking out the new Frasier, and in an episode you can see him do that exact same thing. So you can see clearly that Kelsey Grammer was inspired by Jack Benny, because it's identical to this shot here.
Wow.
And the thing where Jack is playing violin and all this crazy stuff is going behind him, I think that was lots of fun. But I think it could have, if I could critique one thing from this episode, I think it could have been done better if it was staged differently. If Jack Benny was maybe more in the foreground, and so we could see the contrast between him and the wild stuff happening behind him, because he kind of got lost in the whole orchestra in that wide shot.
Yeah.
But it's still a funny gag, and the fact that he keeps playing even when he's on the stretcher.
That is great. And I think worth rewatching this show several times is there are musical jokes in here too. The orchestra starts playing Light Up a Lucky, It's Lucky Time.
Yeah.
So the tunes they play include some things that are very Benny-esque or making fun of the sponsor's slogan. And it makes me want to, I was really struck by when you said that this is a great show if you don't know Jack Benny. The dream music. Who invented that dream music and when did it start? Probably way back in the 30s, and but
For sure.
who first came up with the idea that this was the music to indicate we're going into a dream?
And how long we stuck with that up to present day and everything is like crazy. Well, I'll tell you what.
I used it in Imaginaire Theater in our coma episode.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Well, I think we'll have to end it there because my family's telling me I got to get out to the parade, so can't miss a parade. So anyway.
What's the occasion for the parade?
Oh, we always do it this time of year. Every year, it's the Gig Harbor Parade, our little city parade, and so I just we love to go. So I will see you folks next time. My gosh, what a wonderful episode, and I hope everybody out there enjoys it and everything. And man, my crew, I just love you guys. You guys do a fantastic job all the time on our episodes. I'm sorry to rush us a little bit today, but anyway, enjoy. Have a great week, everyone, and we'll see you next time for more Jack Benny. Thanks, everybody. Wow. Now, for something very special, Kathy, what do we have now?
We've got a trailer for our upcoming episode.
Wow. John, do you like trailers?
Ooh, do I?
All right, let's see it.
Ronnie! So good to see you.
Well, it's good to see you, Jack.
Benita!
Oh, to see you. I mean, it's nice. It's nice.
What?
Well, I wanted to meet an old friend of ours, Mr. Jack Wellington. This is Mr. Benny.
I'm glad to meet you, Mr. Benny.
Well, I didn't expect anyone else here for dinner, but then that's just like the Colemans, always room for one more. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, Jack, can I give you a cocktail?
No, thank you. I'll just sit here and read a magazine while you three go and get dressed.
No, my dear fellow. This is quite informal.
Informal? Ronnie, I can't tell you how happy I am to hear you say that. My shoes are killing me. Feels good.
Ronnie, I think I could use a cocktail.
Mr. Wellington, you're from England, aren't you?
Why, yes, as a matter of fact, I am.
And you were just about to tell us, how are things over there?
Oh, it's very exciting. The tourist season is in full swing, and Laurence Olivier has just made a smashing success with his new film, Henry V.
Good. Well, I only certainly hope I can get over there next year. I like to be there in the spring.
Oh, so do I. Everything looks so lovely in the spring. Do you remember the river at Pangbourne? Thank you, darling.
Ah, the Thames.
Yes, the jolly old Thames.
Yes.
You know, I always take them when my stomach is upset. Come.
Have you read any good books lately?
Why, yes, dear. At your suggestion, I reread The Decline and Fall, and believe it or not, I found it even more absorbing the second time.
Well, I think that's often the way. I've just reread Burton's Anatomy of Melancholy, and it's very amusing.
Well, it's not funny enough for me. I like something more full-blooded. Now you take the old Greek tragedies. The torments of Oedipus, the vengeance of Electra, the agonies of Medea.
Have any of you noticed the frightful mess that little orphan Annie's been in lately? Yes, sir.
Appearing on tonight's program are Artie Auerbach, Lowell Gilmore, Bob Darren, and Spike Jones City Slickers were Freddie Morgan, Peter James, and Mousy Garner. Remember, 1 week from tonight on this same station, be sure and watch Ann Southern in Private Secretary.